Hi, thanks for joining me for another episode of Lauren's Learning Lab. In this episode, I've invited Dr. Sandra Duncan to join me to continue the conversation about creating meaningful spaces for our children in our homes now that they're out of school and daycare. Sandra's a well-known author, educator, and researcher and has dedicated so much of her life's work to the design and creation of inspired environments for young children, so I felt her expertise would be really welcome on my show. She and I collaborate often on the design of environments for infants, toddlers, preschoolers, and school-age children, and I hope you'll join me in welcoming her to Lauren's Learning Lab.
So Sandra, I wanted to start by asking you, with all of your expertise, do you have any advice you can offer to parents and caregivers, broad advice for us while we have our kids home indefinitely? The days can be long. What can you offer us?
I think the best advice one can give is that you too are important. Of course, our children are important. Of course, that's true. We all strive as parents to give the very, very best to them, to provide for them, to have a home that is now a workplace. It's a place to eat, it's a place to sleep, it's a place to play, it's a place to educate and learn. I mean, it's become this place for everything under one roof, and we want to give the best for our children. That's what parents do, right? But now with COVID, you also need to give yourself a little slack. Because we strive so hard to give the best for children, sometimes we try to be the most perfect mom, the most perfect dad, the most perfect teacher now. We try to be everything. Give yourself a little slack. Do what you can and let go of what you can't.
When we're thinking about what we can do in our houses to accommodate our kids, you and I work together often on the design of schools, but in our homes we're working with the constraints of our houses, and oftentimes, we're trying to get our children to work in a space that's designed for adults. What advice can you give to parents and people at home to, make changes to their house or, give space to their home, to their children in their homes?
One idea is to balance your home space. And by that, I mean, try to spread out in your home. In Sierra, that's my granddaughter, in her room, she decided to do something all on her own. And it was her idea, and her mom helped her execute it. Her bed originally was against the wall. So the headboard was flat against the wall, right? So what she wanted to do was she wanted to pull the bed out from the wall that created this gap between the wall and the headboard. And it made this wonderful little space. It's very messy. It's always filled with her, I think, 213 stuffed animals or something crazy like that. But it's her space, and she's decorated it, and she makes it her own. So it's a great way to create a space, a little bit of a different destination for her, other than the dining room table, other than her playroom that she's fortunate enough to have. So it's a little extra special space. Another thing that we did together in the playroom was we took the couch, put it in the corner. So what that did was created this space behind the couch. Again, really cozy little spot that she has all of her dolls right now, and a little doll bed and a blanket and a place for her to be with her dolls. Try Christmas lights. Just put up some Christmas lights in a special little area. Just designate this quaint little area with some Christmas lights. Maybe you could convert an adult size end table that you might have in the living room, convert that into a table that can go into your preschooler's bedroom, and that table could become a construction table. It could become a table for art. It could become a little tea party table. So just convert something that you already have and make it a special space for your child.
Sierra has created these spaces of her own in her house, right, with her mom's help. Um, why do you think those spaces are so important to her?
She's in control of that space. She gets to decide what goes in it, what doesn't go in it. It's hers, and she gets to manage it. And so often our children are managed by us, and they don't get to manage something. They don't get to control something. I remember when I was a child, the closet it didn't have a door. It just had a piece of fabric.
Yeah.
And I remember distinctly going in there under on the floor, carving out a space of my own and putting very special things in there, things that meant a lot to me, and going in with a flashlight and reading a storybook or playing with my dolls. It was my own space. And I got to do with it what I wanted to do. And I got to be me in that space.
Yeah, I have noticed with my own kids, and you may have with Sierra also, that right now, it's a confusing time for us as adults to know how to navigate, and then particularly confusing for kids because all their routines are changed, their school and teachers, we don't know when they'll see them again. And so what they've claimed as theirs, their space, the routines that are most important to them, it's been interesting for me as a parent to step back and see, what do they need to feel stable again, to feel like they own this part of their day, they know what's coming next. And if they do need a space that feels safe, not that home is not safe, but a space where they can just be themselves when they're done with their siblings and done with their parents, like what is that space? And I honor that in our house, and it's important for them, just emotionally to know, psychologically to know they have that space that is theirs, that they can be exactly who and what they want to be in that space. Sandra, this has been such a nice conversation. I'm so glad we had the chance to catch up. Thank you so much for joining me and sharing with the viewers of Lauren's Learning Lab your, just wonderful insights into how we can, give ourselves a little space and, give our kids the chance to claim some space too.
If you're interested in checking out some of Sandra's wonderful, wonderful books, I can highly recommend Bringing the Outside In, a book full of activities that are really wonderful to explore with your children during this time at home, as well as Through a Child's Eyes, where Sandra asks the reader to really think about the experience of a child through their eyes, from their perspective. Thank you again to Dr. Sandra Duncan for joining me, and I hope she'll join me again in future episodes of Lauren's Learning Lab. We'll provide links to some of Sandra's books in the video description below, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for joining me.